Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. And I have Dr. Minkoff of Lifeworks Wellness Center, and he is going to be talking about protein, amino acids, and so much more. Welcome, Dr. Minkoff.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So let's talk about, I know that you wrote a book, and I want you to talk a little bit about the perfect protein. We're all in search of that. Talk about that. Give us a little brief analysis on that.
So what I found is that if we measured levels of amino acids in various people, like all the patients that we see, that most of the time people have deficiencies of amino acids. Now, amino acids are the building blocks for body protein, and the structure of the body and all the enzymes and detoxification and hair and nails and energy all depend on having enough amino acids, which we get from our proteins. And since so many people have trouble with digestion and absorption of the foods that they eat, and they may be on diets where the proteins are not enough, they can get low levels of amino acids in their blood. And so what I found in my practice in both very high-end athletes and also in people who had chronic health problems, that their levels of amino acids were low. It started with me. I'm a triathlete. I've done 43 Ironman triathlons. I've been racing for a long time. I got an injury. I couldn't get it to heal. And what I found is that I was actually protein deficient. And by adding a certain blend of amino acids, I was able to heal it. And then when I looked in other people, I found that virtually all people who are vegetarians or vegans do not get enough dietary protein. This is not everyone, but most people, to keep their body at a good level. And of course, immune levels are dependent on amino acids. Your whole immune system is based on proteins. The cytokines and immunoglobulins and white blood cells are needed in order for you to fight infection and keep your immune system high. So in discovering this with lots of people, we put together this mixture of amino acids, which could be taken as a supplement to boost people's levels of amino acids in their body so that they could get adequate protein. And lots of people have found that it improves their energy, their detoxification, hair, nails, all that stuff, osteoporosis, mood disorders, of course, all the depression, anxiety, sleeplessness, the neurotransmitters that are needed for those are based on amino acids. And so if you're not getting enough in your diet, you will be low and you may suffer from some of these things. And by adding these back in, the product is called Perfect Amino, that it helps like millions of people. So the book is about that and explains it for pretty much a layman. It isn't written in scientific terms, but there's lots of stories there about many different people and how it helped them. So it's been an Amazon bestseller, and it's really really helped a lot of people understand what is protein, how does it work, and why you need it.
All right. I have a question I'm going to ask you from a listener.
Okay.
Her name is Jasmina West in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She says, I'm having brain fog in a major way. I did a food allergy test and it says I'm not gluten intolerant, but I am allergic to dairy. I put dairy back in my diet. I'm now adding gluten in, and now I'm extremely constipated. Any thoughts?
I think that the tests for gluten and dairy allergy are very fickle. Like sometimes the tests pick them up and sometimes they don't. We find in our practice that if I get someone with brain fog, I will take them off gluten, dairy, nightshades, legumes, all grains. Basically, their diet would be meat, fish, eggs, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Give that a trial of 6 to 8 weeks. Work on their digestive tract, because a lot of people have yeast overgrowth or parasites or bad bacteria. They can make toxic products which enter the bloodstream and create brain fog. And so I would do this at the same time, make sure they have enough digestive enzymes, the right probiotics, I would test them for bacteria, parasites, and yeast in their intestine, and then treat them with natural type remedies to get rid of that. And then I would supplement them with amino acids like I'm talking about, vitamins, minerals, fish oil. These are things that we find most people are deficient in when we test them. And I think that would be a better way for her to go, because 90+% of the people that we see, if you go off gluten or dairy for, say, 3 months and then you reintroduce it, many people will get symptoms back right away, something. And so we find most people do better when they don't eat those foods. Brain fog can also be caused by things going on in the sinus. There's a bacteria that can be there that can produce biotoxins. I would also check the environment for mold, because mold can be present in a room or in a bedroom or in an office. The mold puts out biotoxins. They can enter through breathing and through the skin. That can affect brain function as well. So those are some other things I would look for to try to help with that.
Okay, this next one is from Anonymous. It's a he or she, I don't know. It says, I love your show, and my favorite episode is the one with Thomas DeLauer. That was the best one yet. Just so you know, I'm not vegan or vegetarian, but I just don't like a lot of protein. I work out twice a day, but I know I need to get more, but I just don't love chicken and I don't love meat that much. Any ideas on things that I can do to like eating protein more than I do?
Well, I don't know if you can like it more than you do, but if you go to bodyhealth.com, look at Perfect Amino. It's a way to get protein that's basically calorie free. 10 grams of these amino acids has only 4 calories. So for those that want to lose weight and you're trying to calorie restrict, many people who calorie restrict too much will lose lean body mass because they don't get enough protein. So if you could get the equivalent of a gigantic steak in 10 tablets or 2 scoops of powder that had only 4 calories, you could get your protein. And by the way, it's vegan for those that don't want to have any animal products, and yet get enough amino acids so that your body protein levels could stay normal. And that might be a way to do it, where you could have, put it in we have a meal shake too. So it'd be a meal shake. It's 180 calories. You could have that for breakfast. You could have a normal lunch with whatever you like, meat, fish, chicken, something like that, or eggs. And then you could also substitute the protein in a meal for 10 grams of amino acids, and you'd get the equivalent of a lot of protein without having to eat it. So that would be one way that you could do it.
All right. This next one is from Wilnetta in Alpharetta. That's funny. Wilnetta, if I'm saying that right, in Alpharetta. She says, Merry Christmas. I just want to say I love your podcast, and I've lost over 40 pounds so far, but now I haven't lost any weight in 2 months and I'm in a rut. I know I feel awful when I eat grains or dairy, but I seem to not be able to stay away from them. Do you have any other tips and tricks to stay away from them, or how much can I have where I won't overeat on them?
Sometimes it's better to have some now and then than have none. I'll say to people, if you have 21 meals a week, or let's say you're intermittent fasting, so you're having 14 meals a week, that if you had 1 meal a week where you could just say, I'm going to do what I want, that you could usually get away with that. You can have your carbs at that meal, you could have your grains, and then see how you feel, whether it's worth it. Some people get big reactions to them, and then the next day they wouldn't feel so well, or their stomach wouldn't feel so well, and then it might change their mind. Other people could handle it, and then they could go ahead with it. But depriving people often doesn't work very well. most diets long-term don't work very well because people just won't do it. So, usually we put people on a paleo diet, and I say, look, if 18 out of 21 meals a week, you're good. Let's say you're not fasting and you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week, that's 21 meals. If 18 of them, you're on track, you're probably going to be fine. And that gives people some leeway so they can say, okay, Saturday night, we're going out for dinner. I'm going to eat whatever I want. And then they can put it back in. And some people feel terrible the next day, and they're like, well, I'm probably not going to do that again. And then they sort of learn what works for their body. I think that's the key, is you just have to learn what works for you so that you're not craving, you're not deprived, and you look and feel the way you want. And
it's funny because I've interviewed over 1,000 women who are thin. They've never been on a diet before. And one of the things that I've noticed even more recently is that out of them, they normally have about 1 grain and 1 serving of fruit per day. That's it. So like, if you ask them like, what'd you have for lunch? They might say, I had a potato and they had, some vegetables and maybe a lean meat. And then for dinner, they might say, I just had salmon and a vegetable. But and it's all over the map. I mean, they eat whatever. But one of the things I'm starting to notice is if they have a fruit, they might have 1 a day if they're having it. And then if they're having a grain, they may have 1 small serving of a grain a day, but they don't have it every day. They might have it, it's that balance is that they're very, very balanced.
Right.
So let me ask you one more question. This is from Anonymous again. And this is, excuse me, let me scroll down. This is about constipation and fasting. I'm really excited because I've been doing more and more fasting. Sometimes I feel like when I fast, I'm doing fantastic, but other times I'm really down in the dumps doing it. Do you have any suggestions on any electrolytes? Maybe that's what it is. Why is it that sometimes I can fast for 24 hours and I feel like $1,000,000, and the next time I feel like I'm in the pit? Anonymous.
I think the electrolytes are a good idea. Body Health makes an electrolyte mix that has sea and water concentrate plus magnesium, potassium, sodium, trace minerals, zinc, also a couple grams of amino acids, not substantially any calories. And I think people can be electrolyte deficient and they don't feel well. I think people who are fasting should go to the bathroom every day. And if they don't feel that well. Taking a product like Calm or magnesium citrate as a powder has no calories, but is a natural laxative and can help people go. So I just tell people, work out the dose that works for you. If you take too much, you'll have a loose stool. If you don't take enough, you'll be constipated. And most people, between a scoop and 2, you add some hot water, take it before you go to bed. Magnesium is a natural relaxant. It helps for sleep. And a popular product is called Calm. You can get it anywhere. And I think it's good to do while fasting because there's no real nutritive value. You're not adding calories, but you are giving your bowel enough stimulus and enough magnesium so that it will peristalse and you will go. And I think with fasting, there is elimination. You're going to have cells that are going through autophagy. You're going to eliminate toxins. And much of that is coming out through the bowel. And unless you're moving it, it's getting stuck there. And I think some of it backwashes into the body and you won't feel well. So I think that she could try that. Try the electrolytes and try some extra magnesium and see how that goes.
Well, it's almost January, and that means people are looking forward to a fresh start in 2021. And so, if you're like half the population, you're looking forward to accomplishing your New Year's resolution. And a lot of you are saying, I want to lose weight and eat healthier in the new year. Well, here's the problem. Everyone's like, yes, 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 the beginning of January, I'm going to be losing weight. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. And they don't do it. Well, here's why. A lot of people by not even February, they don't even make it till February, and they've already lost sight of what their New Year's resolution goals are. So here's the deal. What you need is accountability, not necessarily knowledge. Think about it. I know I need to work out 5 days a week, but guess what? When I have a personal trainer, I work out. I'm always there. If I have a personal training appointment, I have a guy that I work with 3 days a week. I never, ever miss. Now, on Tuesday, Thursday, I have like a small group class that I go to. If I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not, I'm not. But guess what? Every once in a while, I'll miss on Tuesdays and Thursday. But here's what you need. You have to get an accountability partner, and you have to get an accountability group. That's why we're doing a 30-day detox. What is this 30-day detox? First, you're going to name what your eating window is. So 6 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, you choose it. And we're going to add in some different things. Maybe you want to add in a 24-hour fast. Maybe you want to add in a 48-hour fast. And we're going to eat a Keto Flex clean eating program. You're going to have no sugar, no honey, no refined foods, but you can have up to half a cup of gluten-free grain if you need it, or half a cup of fruit per day. So basically, you're doing keto-ish. It's a keto flex. We're just having really clean foods, and it starts January 4th. And what is it going to do for you? It's going to help hold you accountable. You're going to have an accountability partner. You're going to have weekly meetings, and we are going to take your health to a new step. So if you want to get 50% off, it's normally $60. It's only $30 that's $1 a day for 30 days to have you be held accountable. We hope you join us. Go to chantelrayway.com/30-day detox. We'll add it in the show notes. Love it. What other health tips or supplements would you say like that you've seen the biggest results with for people? So you'd say like, if they were some of these different things that they talked about here, like the one girl with brain fog, what is kind of the biggest, if you could choose, like these are my top 3 supplements that I've seen that made the biggest difference in people's health?
I put everybody on a natural good multivitamin. The one we make is called Body Health Complete. It's got 16 organic fruit and vegetable concentrates with some boosts with extra vitamins, CoQ10, activated folic acid, things like that. Most people, unless they're big fish eaters, are low in omega-3 fats, and you need omega-3 fats for your brain. You need it for inflammation. So some kind of a fish oil supplement, I think, is really good for most people. A greens concentrate is good for most people. How many people eat 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day? Almost none. If you take a scoop, and there's a million companies that make these powders, where you take a scoop, you can put it on anything or in soup or in a smoothie, and they generally taste really good, and you get tons of flavonoids, which our body needs. They're natural antioxidants, which are really good. And then the last one would be amino acids. People need extra amino acids. Most people are deficient. And I think if you combine those things, you can do a lot, plus a good diet to get what you need and feel good.
So I want you to talk a little bit more about amino acids and kind of break it down for people who have heard of it, but they don't totally understand how important it is and why it's so important.
Okay. So, if you go to a dietitian and you say, okay, I want a balanced diet and I want to lose weight. And they'll say, okay, eat 1,200 calories a day and exercise and you will lose weight. And then you say, well, how much of each thing should I eat? And they say, well, if you're 120 pounds, then you should have 50 grams of protein per day. and 50 grams of protein, you can get 14 from a yogurt and 20 from a piece of chicken, and you could get a protein powder that's got 25, and it all adds up to 50, and you'll be fine. And that actually isn't true. The equivalents of the proteins that people eat aren't equal. Like, I just saw a patient who is a vegan, and he thinks that the proteins in spinach are superior to everything. So he has green smoothies every day with lots of spinach, because when he calculates it out, he figures he gets 10 or 12 grams of spinach every day, and that's good protein. And that's just false. It's not really true. The proteins in spinach are incomplete. It means that they don't have the mixtures of amino acids that you need to actually nourish the body. So one protein is not equivalent to another one. And this has been measured, so you could test it. You could give someone, let's say, a scoop of whey protein 3 times a day, and let's say that's 25 grams for a scoop of whey protein. And you could say, well, I got 75 grams of whey protein per day, and that meets my needs. But if you measure how much of that whey protein actually got incorporated into the body tissue, which is what you want, you know, it's going to be muscles, hair, fingernails, bone, enzymes. What you will, and you can measure this, because a protein is different than a fat or a carbohydrate. Fats and carbohydrates and proteins all have 3 things: carbons and hydrogens and oxygens. But a protein has one extra thing, which is called nitrogen. And so you can measure, okay, in 75 grams of whey protein, you get, let's say, 10 grams of nitrogen with that. And if that whey protein gets incorporated into your body structure, because there's 2 choices: either it gets incorporated into the body structure, or the body burns it as calories. If it burns it as calories, it doesn't get turned into protein. So you can measure, okay, I ate the only proteins I had fruits and vegetables all day, and all I had for protein was 3 scoops of whey protein. Let's say that's 10 grams of nitrogen in. And then you can measure the urine, and you could say how many grams of nitrogen came out that day of the 10 that came in. And what you'll find is that 84% of the nitrogen that went in went out, which means that whey is a very poor protein. The body, might be good for a cow, but for us, in terms of utilizing it, like how much could the body actually take and utilize, it's only about 16%. Beefsteak is about 33%. Eggs are about 48%. So at the top of the scale is eggs. Like, for nutritious protein, it's the best one. The product that we have called Perfect Amino is 99% assimilated. So if you put in 100 grams of Perfect Amino, less than of nitrogen, less than 1 gram is going to come out. So it's very powerful in nourishing the body to make proteins at a cost of almost no calories. So, you know, a chicken breast might be 250 or 300 calories, and you would get about 33% of that protein incorporated into your body. But if instead you substituted 10 tablets of Perfect Amino, it only costs you 4 calories. And all of it will be used to make body protein. So for people who want to lose weight, it's a really good way to do it, because you can get your we ran weight loss in our clinic, and we put people on real, you know, when you could get it, we did people on, it's not legal now, but you could do HCG. You could give people HCG and a 500 calorie diet, and you could get them to lose weight. And what we found, that for every 4 pounds of fat that they lost 1 pound of lean body mass. And then when they go back on their regular diet, and then they get fat again, and then they want to do it again, you get the skinny fat people. They have no muscle, their bones are all disintegrated, and they have extra body fat because they didn't get enough protein. And so what we found is, if we gave them Perfect Amino while they were doing a low calorie diet, that they didn't lose lean body mass. They kept their protein and their bones and their enzymes. And it was a way for them to go low calorie, but not make their body in a catabolic, in a breaking down state. And that then they felt better too, because your whole detox system, your whole enzyme system in your liver is made out of amino acids. And if you're low on the intake, then the activity in your liver of detoxification is going to be low. And sometimes when people fast, they don't feel well because their liver system is kind of overloaded with all the stuff coming through. And sometimes people fast with amino acids. Some people don't like it. I leave that to you, but that it goes easier, it goes better.
Awesome. Well, go ahead and tell listeners where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Okay. So we're on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and whatever else there is. Our clinic website is Lifeworks Wellness Center, all one word, .com. We see people from all over the world really with cancer and Lyme and chronic infection and Parkinson's and dementia and all kinds of, our average patient has seen 13 doctors with an unsolved problem. About 85% of the time, we actually can help them get better. We do see some high performance athletes as well, because basically to make the body work better, you do the same thing. We also have a product company called Body Health. It's bodyhealth.com. And we have lots of different products, including Perfect Amino, multivitamins, detoxification products to help people perform better. That's really what we're about.
So what I want you to explain is, what's the difference between Perfect Amino electrolytes and Perfect Amino tablets?
The tablets are just amino acids. The electrolytes are mostly minerals. So this was originally developed as a sports performance drink. People wanted to be able to they're out, it's hot, they're sweating, they need electrolyte replacements. So sodium, potassium, magnesium, zinc, trace minerals are what an athlete needs, or someone who's doing something where they're sweating a lot. We added a couple grams of Perfect Amino per scoop, and we found that it upped performance even more. That people not only needed electrolytes, but if you put in amino acids, especially on a mental level, they were able to stay very focused longer, because the brain could use the amino acids for neurotransmitters, and it just worked better. So that's why we added it to it.
So if someone let's say somebody took the Perfect Amino tablets, are you saying that they would have to take less protein consumption for the day?
Yes. Yeah, you could live on Perfect Amino. If you took 10 tablets 3 times a day, that would be a total of 12 calories to get all the proteins that you need for the day.
Hey guys, I wanted to tell you I'm offering a free weight loss virtual Bible study. Now is the perfect time to focus on understanding true hunger and fullness and learn what the Bible has to say about it. All you have to do is go to chantelrayway.com/Bible study. After you sign up, you'll receive a 6-week Bible study video that you can watch on your own, or you can get a small group of people and do it together. That's chantelrayway.com/Bible study for your free 6-week Bible study course.
And then if you ate other things, you ate your vegetables or, depending on what else you're eating, fats, you wouldn't have calories basically from proteins, but your calories would be made from other things. So if we take, like when we have patients that have cancer, we put them on a ketogenic diet, a low calorie ketogenic diet, where they're not allowed to have hardly any proteins and they're not allowed to have any carbohydrates. 80% of the calories that they take are fats, because cancer likes carbohydrates. That's what the main food for cancer cells is, glucose, it's carbohydrates. And since, if you eat a piece of chicken, about 67% of that chicken is going to get turned into a carbohydrate by the body. So you have to watch how much protein you give them, because they're going to turn it into sugar. If you give them Perfect Amino as a substitute, their body doesn't turn it into sugar. It utilizes it all as amino acids. And so there's really no calories. See, proteins are supposed to have 4 calories per gram, but it's only the proteins that didn't get made. If it got made into hair or into liver tissue or into enzymes, there is no calories for it. It's only the ones that don't get utilized that are there and burned as calories or stored as fat. Because you can take if 67% of a chicken breast or a piece of meat gets turned into a carb, either your body's going to burn that carb or it's going to store the calories from that carb as glycogen or as body fat. So if you use Perfect Amino as a substitute, it isn't going to do that because it can't. It's just the body will use it all to make protein.
So somebody who is vegan then, especially, they would need to be taking some sort of essential amino acids, correct?
Well, vegans for sure, vegetarians for sure. It's not all, but it's probably 99%. But what we found is that almost everybody has low levels of amino acids in their blood. If you do a fasting blood test like standard, go to Quest or LabCorp and get a panel with essential amino acids, what we find is that most people have deficiencies because almost everybody walking around has a gut that's not quite right. They have a leaky gut. They're intolerant of some foods that they eat. They're deficient in vitamins and minerals. So many people now are on drugs which block stomach acid production. Nexium and Prilosec and Tagamet and these drugs, because they have indigestion, they have heartburn, and they want relief from it, and they don't really want to give up the foods that cause it. And that blocks your body from digesting protein and from absorbing minerals. So, there's something like 24 million prescriptions per month written for these drugs, and a lot of them now are available over the counter, so anybody could take them. And it might be interesting to survey your audience. How many people are on acid blocking drugs? For sure, their digestion is going to be messed up. They're going to overgrow bacteria in their small intestine. They're going to have yeast overgrowth. They're going to have mineral malabsorption, and they're going to have protein malabsorption.
Okay, I want you to talk about something real quick because I've had this discussion with my husband and with another friend of ours. It's a really good friend. And they are constantly taking Tums because they have acid reflux.
Yeah.
Please, please, please tell them why they should not be taking Tums.
Well, it's just what I said. If you neutralize, it's just the same. Some people are drinking alkaline water with their meals. Your stomach, when you put food in there, produces acid, very strong acid, hydrochloric acid, pH like 1, like really strong acid. And that is required in order to digest proteins and absorb minerals. If you're taking these things, you are blocking that effect, and your absorption of and digestion of proteins and minerals will be down. Most people need more acid and not less. So as we age, so in a healthy young person who's not deficient, if you measure the pH in their stomach, so pH is a measure of how acid is something. So 1 is really acid. Water is 7, so it's neutral. And baking soda is 14. It's really alkaline. It's the opposite. So in your stomach, when you eat some food, your stomach starts, when it's working right, produces strong acid like pH 1, which is normal. That triggers a reflex in the muscle that's between the esophagus and the stomach to close. And if that valve is closed, it's a sphincter, it's a muscle that blocks stomach contents from going into your esophagus. If the pH in your stomach is 1, that reflex is triggered and you don't get heartburn or GERD type symptoms. Now, many people as they age do not produce enough stomach acid. It might be nutritional deficiency, but their stomach pH is maybe 4. It's kind of like vinegar. And that's not enough to trigger that stomach valve to close. So they get backwash of pH 4, which is still acid, into their lower esophagus, and they get heartburn or sore throat or GERD type symptoms. And they take Tums to block that acid, to neutralize it. If you take Tums, are probably pH 10 or 12.
And that's just masking the problem. And what they really need is HCl and some kind of digestive enzyme to actually get the food to digest, correct?
That's right. And if they take acid with their food, they take a supplement, like we make one called Full Spectrum Digest. It has pancreatic enzymes and hydrochloric acid in it.
Yes.
And I say halfway through the meal, take 2 or 3 of these things, and your GERD will go away, because now that valve will close, you'll digest your food. It'll go down the way it's supposed to and not back up.
Yes. And I've created a digestive enzyme myself. And the reason why I feel like mine is so good is just for that same reason that you said, is because it has HCl and digestive enzymes. It's hard to find both in one pill. A lot of times you can buy HCl, you can buy digestive enzymes, but putting them together is great. Well, Thank you so much for being with us today. This has been great. And we'll put all of your links in the show notes.
Okay. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you guys. And you guys stay tuned. We have another episode coming up in just a few. Bye-bye for now.
This has been a Sempronto Media production.